The MTN 530 News.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Russ Riesinger. COVID cases climbing and school soon starting. That's leading to a lot of debate and some tough decisions on whether masks should be required in education settings again this school year. We've been watching the cases skyrocket all week, and the virus is showing no signs of slowing down. Right now, the active case mark sits just below 2,000 in Montana, as another 272 new cases were reported today. That 2,000 mark is an unwelcome milestone that the state has not seen since February 22nd of this year. Yellowstone County saw the second most new cases today with 42 and has 262 active cases. 137 Montanans are hospitalized, while 1,722 have now passed away from the virus. Well, according to the MSUB COVID-19 task force, the main campus and City College have been deemed the safest places in the county. To maintain that, the university put in recommendations effective today for employees and students. Q2's David J. has more on what students can expect when classes start.
When students go into the classroom, the recommendation is to wear a mask. And the COVID-19 task force here at the campus also is encouraging vaccinations that is based on information from the CDC and from Yellowstone County.
The 7-day average that just finished on the 4th of August on Wednesday, the number of new cases were up by 60%. The number of new hospital admissions were up by 70%. These significant increases now place us in the high risk category. Then the natural recommendation for us, which was announced this morning, was to have masks indoors.
Provost Sep Eskandari is also the incident commander for MSUB's COVID-19 task force and says the recommendations give students an option.
The data support this recommendation, but we recognize that this is a personal choice. We recognize that people have different opinions on this issue.
And vaccines also will not be required.
We're looking at about 40% of individuals who are fully vaccinated. We know in our student population in that age group that percentage is slightly smaller. We know there are different risks associated with being vaccinated and not vaccinated. Recognizing again that it's a personal choice, and we respect all of the personal choices that are made.
And Provost Eskandari says that things could change. There's still some time between now and the start of school. In Billings, David J., MTN News.
Well, the decision on recommending masks and encouraging vaccines was made locally and may be different from other college campuses in Montana. Tonight, we now know the name of the 19-year-old woman who was killed in Tuesday night's crash in downtown Billings. Yellowstone County's deputy coroner says Alexis Pyle of Laurel died on the scene of multiple blunt force injuries. Pyle was a passenger in a Dodge Ram when it collided with a Toyota Tundra at the intersection of 1st Avenue North and North 12th Street Tuesday evening. The Dodge was driven by 19-year-old Peyton Hunter, and the Toyota's driver was 33-year-old Justin Bighair. Both drivers have been arrested, with Hunter being held on 3 counts of felony criminal endangerment and Bighair facing a charge of vehicular homicide while under the influence, along with 3 counts of felony criminal endangerment. Now turning to Chief Meteorologist Ed McIntosh. And Ed, once again, there are some storms in the area that you're keeping an eye on.
Yeah, we got an early start in northern Wyoming. Cody, you picked up some rain out of it, and then the storm system started to move up through Miles City later in the day. It actually brought some pretty good rain, but there's been some lightning with some of these storms as well. Had a report of up to 1-inch hail into South Dakota. Now we're watching another stream start to move down from the central portion of the state near Harleton, outside of Rygate. You see that near Roundup as well, and that's also producing some areas of strong winds around those storms. Statewide, we're going to be looking at most of the storms here in southern Montana. If you look at our high resolution forecast through the evening hours, we'll take that chance of storms around the Billings area until around 8 p.m. Then they should start to ease up after that. The weekend forecast in just a few minutes.
Well, most close encounters with a bear are usually pretty frightening and dangerous, but MTN's John Shear reports that one Bozeman angler has a bear encounter story not too far from Billings that just left him laughing.
We headed out that morning, doing a little bit of fishing.
Jason and a friend were at the Yellowtail Dam, south of Hardin.
This bear come out of this chokecherry stand and headed straight down to the water's edge to where we were.
Bears are common in that area, but what happened next caught Veach off guard.
He just kept coming.
That's right. The bear swam right out to Veach's boat.
It was a hell of a lot more exciting than the fishing was, I can tell you that. So
This is far from the first unusual bear story of the summer. So what's going on?
Well, we are in an extreme drought year this year. And whenever you have a year like that, it affects so many things for wild animals, especially food sources and food and water.
Veach, who has a spa store near Four Corners, says he has an idea what brought the bear to his boat.
given the the amount of traffic up there and boaters, and it's a very popular recreation area that that bear had been fed and was sort of conditioned to boats and having a food reward.
While this certainly seems like a yogi and boo-boo moment, Wemple says people could be putting themselves and the bear itself in danger.
Do not feed bears, for one thing. We have had that happen this year. And unfortunately, a lot of times that results in the bear being euthanized because it creates a public safety issue.
Wemple's advice? Back away slowly when you see a bear. Don't run, and don't forget your bear spray.
Bears can smell things that we just can't. And there's a very good chance that whatever you have on your ice chest, on your hands, in your hand, whatever, they probably can smell it, and it's probably drawing them to you.
Montana's amazing in that regard. Around any given corner, there's an opportunity to experience something like that. But you certainly have to be bear aware and treat wildlife as wildlife.
John Shearer, MTN News, Bozeman.
And Wemple reminds everyone that there have already been 2 fatal bear attacks in Montana. It says hikers and bikers are reporting numerous bear encounters and mock charges by grizzly bears. Well, we've all heard of a trophy catch, and now thanks to someone else reeling in the big one, a national champion has been named. MTN's John Amy has the story.
When Wisdom area taxidermist Scott Lula went to a Sioux Falls taxidermy competition back in July, he just wanted the experience. He walked away a national champion.
I've never competed before, and I thought nothing else would be a good learning experience because that's what it's all about anyhow. And wife and I walked up to the table and I saw a blue ribbon sitting there, and I'm like, holy, you gotta be kidding me.
His reproduction of a shovel-nosed sturgeon made him a national champion on his very first try, proving that his many years of experience has taught him plenty about the art.
I started doing taxidermy when I was 12 years old. My uncle did taxidermy, and I was always enthused going down into his basement and seeing all the stuff.
He runs his business called Angler's Cast from a small workshop just south of Wisdom. Scott specializes in fish, which he says is the most challenging of all the animals in taxidermy. He can do skin mounts, which use the actual skin of the fish. However, in this time when more fishermen practice catch and release, Scott does more reproductions. This requires his clients to send him detailed photos of the fish they caught.
Everybody's holding up a fish. I don't want to see your smiling face. I want to see the fish up close. I want to see the scale detail. Take pictures of segments of the body.
The goal is to make these reproduction of fish come to life.
You're locking a moment in time. What that fish is doing at that particular moment, you're freezing it, freeze frame. And to capture that essence, it's not easy.
It's really about attention to detail. Scott actually individually paints every scale on this West Slope cutthroat. And you'd think after 25 years of experience, he would know everything there is to know about taxidermy. Well, you're wrong. He's humble. He says he learns every day.
The day you quit learning, the day you might as well pack it up and do something else. It's a never-ending process. And I mean, the thing with the art of taxidermy, it goes as far as your imagination wants to. You can create whatever you want or how you can imagine it, to try to make it correct with nature, but you can do anything, or try to.
All right, still ahead on tonight's MTN 530 News here on Q2. The Cats are back. The team huddled up for its first practice as we look forward to the new football season. And we're going to stay on track with a look at the expansion of the nation's rail system and the funding that's needed to make it happen. We'll be right back.